Welcome back to Seat Time. We are in Georgia, just outside of Greensboro for round 3, but technically round 2 of the National Enduro Series. Acadiana Classic got canceled the day of the race. We did get rain last night, so it is gonna be a slippery, sliding day here in Georgia. What's interesting is if you don't listen to country music, you won't know that apparently there's a lot of red clay here in Georgia. And so if you come back and look at this road, you can see that there is definitely some clay on that road. So we're gonna see how slick and interesting and see if the bike packs up throughout the day. It's gonna be a good time. They did take out the 7th test, so we are gonna have only 6 tests today. I'm gonna try to take you guys through as many of those as I can. Try to stay upright, try to have fun. I'm on row 41 again. Let's do this. Enjoy getting seat time. Onward. I'm gonna have extra gloves, extra palm protectors, extra pair of goggles in there. Of course, I'm gonna make sure that I can refill all of my nutrition. I forgot my nice big plastic bottles, so I've got a bunch of these guys right now to refill my hydration bladder. So of course I used UCAN and Element as my bits and bobs. We got the utility can caddy packed. Got to get these in there. Put that on the trailer. We are starting an hour late today, which is unfortunate because of a lot of rain last night. So this could be some really entertaining footage for you guys. Let's see how this goes. Jumping into the woods of Georgia after knowing that we had received 1 to 2 inches of rain, the Enduro was started an hour late, and that some of the test sections were either cut out or shortened, it was going to be a long day. Due to the slick terrain and not knowing what I was getting myself into, I did ride a little bit tentative in this first test. Woo! I didn't make any really big mistakes in test 1, but it definitely was slick and I did bobble. Stand up, it's a lot easier. As I was closing in on the 2.5 mile marker in test number 1, I did get caught by Scott Gowler from row 42. This was gonna be the theme all day, but that's okay. He's much faster than I am, finishing 26th overall, so it was cool to see him come by. Woo! This is Sean Billenstein passing me from my row. He is another 45 plus A racer that we were both on 41, and sometimes that sucks, and sometimes it turns into the best thing ever because they're pulling you, you're pushing them, maybe you're pulling them and they're pushing you, and it's a fun way to go throughout the day. So following Sean here, then I get in front of him because he lets me by, then again I hear him, I let him by. I hope you guys enjoy the little bit of back and forth in this, and we'll slowly work our way into test number 2. Keep going. Woo, test 1 is done. It was 7 miles and it was slick. It was like the first 2 miles were really slick, and then like in the middle was like actually had some traction, and then it got slick again as we were coming out and stuff. The dude Sean on my row is in 45A. We were back and forth the whole time. It was so much fun. It sounds like he went down, caught up to me, but then like I think I was just making bike noises and he thought I wanted to get around him. So there were times he let me by, times I let him by. I think we're gonna be doing that all day, and that's totally cool. We're just gonna have fun getting seat time. We gotta go, that was 7, so we're going into test 2. That's gonna be 8 miles.
This one's good. You're gonna have a good time, man.
He was right. Test 2 was really fun, but unfortunately, I made an amazing rookie mistake right here at this rut.
What an idiot.
What you're thinking is correct. I should not have been doing that to that 4-stroke because that is the situations where they blow up. But in the long run, I made a mistake. I was super pissed off at myself and I just wanted to get out of that rut. And you can see in this low spot at the start of test 2, we were all in a weird precarious spot. But because I spent about 41 seconds wasting time in that rut that I was stuck in, we see Scott there from row 42 already catching me. I'm glad he was thinking faster on his toes than I was to get outside of that rut. And honestly, once we started going, it really wasn't that bad. It was a fun test. I'll show you just a tad bit more of it. That right there is Jake Mintha. So he was on row 42 as well with Scott, who you saw pass me on the Husqvarna. He passes me throughout the entire day. Obviously, so does Jack as well. But it was cool. I think I was just pissed off enough that I was like, you know what? I am going to do my damnedest to keep up with Jack. Now, by no means did I do that for the entire test, but I do think that even though I screwed up and dropped about 41 seconds looking back at the footage because of the rut, I think attacking the way I did, trying to stay with Jack, actually is what had me not fall too far behind the class. It was a cool section, and I'm not going to show you guys too much more of test 2 because there's so much more to see. There's a lot more from this test that's a lot of fun, and I'll make sure to share little shorts on YouTube and on Instagram and stuff like that. We're about to get into the actual test 3, which was not test 4, from the full recap that I put out.
Woo! 41F. Thanks, guys. Hell yeah. That was a fun one, except for my rookie mistake.
Welcome to actually test 3 this time around, and as you can see, we are in some fairly tight pine woods here in Georgia. I really enjoyed this section. I like it when we get a chance to wiggle through some trees and we have to figure out how to find some flow. When you're riding in this type of single track, you want to try to stand up as much as possible. You're going to have a lot more leverage when you're standing to be able to wiggle the bike. So even though you're going to want to sit down because of the balance that it takes to stand up, you want to learn that balance and you want to learn to stand up in these areas, unless you're getting passed. This is a prime example of what you need to do in this area. Did you notice that Scott did not sit down at all while he was passing me? He was wiggling between the trees and letting the bike move underneath him, and his body was going in the other direction. So rewatch that section. That's why I slowed it down, if you want to understand that just a little bit more. We actually worked our way out of the piney woods for a little bit, and it looked like Scott made a little bit of a bobble as he was passing those two riders. That's how I caught him. But I wanted to show you guys this section because of the off-camber, slippery part of it. So the whole test wasn't in those piney woods. It did get slick. 1, all of these bridges were slick. 2, you can see the hot line that formed. Most likely a pro wanted to get around a rider, took a hard right, but you can see the arrows just off to the left. That's how you know you're still heading in the correct direction. Yes, I did dog paddle a little bit at the top of that hill, but in the long run, I kept my momentum well as I was going up, even though it did start to get slick.
41F.
3rd in the A45 class, 73rd overall.
Hell yeah. Woo, buddy, that was wiggly. Woohoo!
If you've ever wondered who's capturing the footage in the woods, say hi to Mason.
Yeah, Mason! Woohoo!
Test 4 was a lot of fun, and I actually put this full test out thinking that it was test 3. So if you want to see more of this, make sure you go check out that other video. And we have to check out this double whack again. 1, that root scared the crap out of me. 2, this test felt a lot like a test I would have ridden at the Cajun Classic National Enduro if it had happened earlier in the year. But I wanted to show you this because look at that streak mark just down the middle of the track. I did talk to Brendan Greiner, and he was on row 2, and he said this section was crazy slick. But it's nuts that it was this slick And that as we come through this extremely awesome hotline right now, that something like this could still happen. We did get out of the pine trees for a little bit. We had a little bit of elevation and a little bit of off camber right here in this section, which was a lot of fun. I'm glad that we had these throughout the test. And of course, this is right about where Scott and Jack passed me in this test. Somehow, I made it out of this test section alive. I was 3rd place in the class and 93rd overall. So even though I got 3rd place in the class, it looks like my time was pretty slow compared to that 3rd test section when I was 73rd overall and 3rd in the class. We got one more section to go. Test 6 seemed to be one of the fastest tests on the day. It had a lot of open, flowy single track. Of course, though, it was still very slick in a lot of spots and got very deep because of all the moisture that came in and inundated the Georgia clay. It was a lot of fun and I enjoyed the test. I'm just very surprised that the way that I rode didn't actually result in a better result in the class. The truth is, the other guys in my class really did step it up in this last test. They were 60th and 70th overall, and I was still there in the 80s. So they just rode better than I did. I need to make sure that I'm attacking at the beginning of the day and at the end of the day. Even Scott from row 42 caught me about a half mile sooner than he normally had in some of the other tests. So I just was not attacking or riding as hard as I had been previously. I wanted to show all these different lines because being on 41, all of the pros had just passed everybody in the 20s and the 30s. And that's how these lines develop. Sometimes they're really safe, and sometimes they're just making these lines happen because they have to get around a rider. All in all, I'm feeling much more comfortable on the bike. I'm really happy with the way that I rode. There were little things that I think I wanted to work on throughout the day, but due to the terrain, I was nervous to start tweaking with the bike to see if I could get myself a little bit more comfortable. In the long run, I should have just done it, but remember, always only change one thing at a time and see how it affects. I'll see you guys in Missouri. I hope you guys enjoy getting seat time, and we'll see you for the next one.
41F.